Okay, Chapter 5, Lesson 4, Solving Compound Inequalities. When solving compound inequalities, there are two types. The first type is where you have two separate inequalities with the word and or the word or in between them, and they get graphed on the same number line. The other option is one inequality where to get x alone, you need to do the work to all three sides. So in this case, I have an inequality here and an inequality here. And so when I go to solve for x, I need to do the work in all three spaces. When graphing these inequalities, the arrows will either point away from each other or at each other. They won't point the same way. Number 1, graph the solution set of each compound inequality. Well, looking at number 1, this is one of our ones where we have two separate inequalities in the same equation. And if I'm looking at the middle here, n is by itself, so I don't have to do any work to get n alone. So on the -4, it's a less than or equal to, so I'm going to put a closed circle. And on the 1, it is also a less than or equal to, so it gets a closed circle. Now, when I cover the left side of this equation to read what's going on here, it says that n is less than or equal to 1. So I know that this one will point to the left. When I read the left side of the equation, I'm going to cover the right, and it says that -4 is less than all the answers. Also, based on this sentence up here, the arrows can either point at each other or away from each other. They can't point the same way. So this one is pointing to each other. On the second one, we have two separate inequalities that are separated by or, but we graph them both on the same number line. So the first one we graph is x is greater than 0, open circle and to the right. And the second one, x is less than 3, open and to the left. Again, those are pointed at each other. On number 3, x is less than -3, so points to the left. And g is greater than or equal to, so filled in circle, and pointed to the right. Number 4, we have 2 here that we have to look at. So first we'll cover the left side and look at the right. P is less than or equal to 4. And then we'll read here, -4 is less than or equal to P, so that points to the right. Now on ours, we have to write a compound inequality for each graph. So in this first one, I have x is less than or equal to -3, or x is greater than or equal to 3. On this next one, x is less than 2, or x is greater than or equal to 3. This one, I want to put x in the middle, and I have 0 on one side and 5 on the other. And so when I read this, it says x is less than 5. And when I read this one, it says that x is less than or equal to, or 0 is less than or equal to x. So remember that since my x is on the right of this side of the equation, my inequality and my arrow need to point opposite ways. Same thing here, I'd have -5 is less than x, which is less than 0. This one we actually have to start to solve. So here on this first one, I would add 3 to both sides. So that gives me k is less than -4, open and to the left. On this one, subtract 5 from both sides. So k is greater than or equal to 3, so closed and to the right. Number 12, my first one is 2x minus 4 is greater than -6. Add 4 to both sides. So that would be -2. And divide by 2, which would give me x is greater than -1. On the right side, I subtract 1, so I get 3x is less than 12. Divide by 3, so x is less than 4. Okay, on number 11, when the x is in the middle, and we go to solve this, whatever we do to the middle equation to get x by itself, we also need to do to the left side and to the right side. So on this one, the first thing I would do is subtract 2. Since I'm doing it to the middle, I have to do it to the left side and to the right side. So I have 3 is less than 3x is less than or equal to 9. Again, whatever I do to x to get it alone, I have to do to the left side and to the right side. And so my final answer is 1 is less than x is less than or equal to 3. So we come up here and put an open on 1 and a closed on 3. X is less than or equal to 3, and x is greater than 1. Define a variable, write an inequality, and solve. Number 13, 2 times the number plus 1 is greater than 5 and less than 7. Not less than or equal to, just less than 7. So since it's greater than 5, I put it on the right side of 5, and since it's less than 7, I put it on the left side of 7. So this one, when I go to solve, I have to do it to all 3 sides. So I'm going to first subtract 1 to all 3 sides. So that gives me 4 is less than 2x is less than 6. Divide by 2 on all 3 sides. So 2 is less than x is less than 3. A number minus 1 is at most 9, or 2 times the number is at least 24. So add 1 to get 10, divide by 2 to get 12. Strong winds called the prevailing westerlies blow from west to east in a belt between 40 to 60 degrees latitude in both the northern and southern hemispheres. Write an inequality to represent the latitude of the prevailing westerlies in the northern hemispheres. So if they're in between 40 to 60, I'm going to put x in the middle. And if it says that they are, it says from 40 to 60, so I'm actually going to use the included to, the equal to. Write an inequality to represent the latitudes where the prevailing westerlies are not located. So anything that's less than 40 or anything that's greater than 60. A cookie contains 9 grams of fat. If you eat no fewer than 4 and no more than 7, how many grams of fat will you consume? So we have x is no fewer than 4, so greater than or equal to 4, and x is no more, less than or equal to 7, and they each have 9 grams of fat. So I'm going to times this by 9, times this by 9. So x is greater than or equal to 36, and x is less than or equal to 63 grams.